I'm Skylar. This is Zach. This is the Quick and Dirty. All right, guys, what we're going to cover today is the double Turkish get-up. We kind of got you set up with this double kettlebell sit-up to build to the proper sitting position. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to add some rotational stuff to get you from the floor to the standing position. This is a great movement to integrate if you work with people that have jobs that would have to work with gear, if you work with fighters and or grapplers that have to work with opponents on them, all kinds of sport-specific applications, besides the fact that it's just a great way to start working with a bit more weight in the Turkish get-up, especially if you're limited by having a bell overhead and you can't do that. I've got a lot of people moving with a double bell in the rack position. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through that. I'm going to start with my 2 bells. If you guys haven't gone over the double kettlebell sit-up, go back to our YouTube page, check that out so you initiate this properly. That's where you're going to have the most amount of success in completing the movement. I have my hands set up just like we do in that double sit-up. I go ahead and sit back into position. Again, as we talked about in our previous video, I'm going to sit up correctly. Once I'm here, that's where all the magic happens, I guess you can say. My feet are going to split out. I'm going to take this leg and I'm going to bring my heel to the inside of my leg. Once I have that here, this will become my post leg in a second. This heel is going to pull back behind me. And then this post leg we talked about, I rotate up through, engage the glutes into a position where I'm a bit standing, stand in my lunge, stand to standing. I've now come from the ground to a standing position. I'm going to step back into my lunge. That post leg is still going to be there. Pull this under, the same post leg that we took to stand up. I now sit over. My leg comes out. My other leg comes out. And I return to the ground in my sit-up. Now, one more time, a little bit more real time on it. I sit up, foot comes in, foot pulls back. Squeeze through over the post leg, come to a standing position through the lunge, step back, down to the ground, back to my kneeling position. Over my post leg, down to the ground, leg comes back out, I return to the ground. I'll walk through one and Doc will give you guys some pointers on what's going to be really going on here.
Okay, so it's a double kettlebell Turkish get-up. That's cool, and that's worth doing in its own. Now, this element right here, freeze, this is the most useful part of it from my perspective. This is integrating full hip health of both internal and external rotation. You really don't see a whole lot of internal rotation in CrossFit or the kind of videos you usually see on this kind of a topic. Now, the fact is, his left leg's at an end range internal rotation, and it's the kind of mobility that you just don't get doing the box stretches and the Samson stretches and the kind of on the box, on the couch kind of stretches that people usually use. So go ahead and progress through this movement. Obviously, there's other useful elements. I mean, working on your hip extension, working on getting the hip open into full extension on the return leg. Those are all useful, but what makes this one unique is that transition phase right before you stand up, getting external rotation on the right leg, internal rotation on the left.
All right, guys, so that's the double Turkish get-up. This is a great movement that you can start bringing in if athletes can't necessarily do the single arm. Double bell is actually a little bit easier in this context of what we're looking for here. Help build up strength, get you from the ground to the standing position, all that good stuff. Check out our link in the video above to see the rest.